As many of us see from the current state of affairs in Asia and around the world, China is poised to take the reign as certainly a power that can rival the United States and maybe even overcome the US moving forward. And we see the leader of China who is really taking a definite stance on where he stands, the state of masculinity in China, and the fact that we have seen a generation or several generations of effeminate kinds of guys that are being breeded in that country, which is a great concern to Xi Jinping and the Communist Party over there in China. Now, while I don't exactly concur with every single point of that party, and I certainly do not identify as a communist, I would say my political philosophy would come closer to nationalism. I do believe that their Communist Party is less in line with Marxism and actually more akin to a third positionist philosophy. So I will say that first of all, because if any of us knows anything about politics in the current era, to go out and say you're a fascist is not really a smart decision. As a country, even a major Asian country, it's not going to be received very well. And so I think China, instead of saying we're a national socialist country or we're a fascist society, they continue to use a moniker that they're communist. And yeah, there are elements that would be considered communist about them, but in any case, I think China is willing to really stand up for the future of the country. Leaders there are ready to really take on the world, you might say, in the sense that they want to show the world who they are and the country they've become, and the fact that they would like to remain autonomous. They're concerned about the impact that feminism is having and about the state of masculinity in their country, and we see how it's ruined other Western countries. Considering that the government of China is composed of very capable men and some women, it's not like in many Western states where the government positions are often filled by less than capable individuals. Generally in China, the government roles are often taken by the highest performing students over in that country. So as a result is that China does have a large quantity of very capable men who are entering positions of government. And as a result, they recognize the problems that their society is facing. And one of the main issues is the rise of feminism. We see the declining birth rates over there. And while I don't believe that birth rates should be just increased for the sake of increasing the population, I believe that a child should be raised in a more conventional home with a mother and father and have a proper upbringing. At the same time, I do recognize why there is great concern with a declining birth rate. And the fact that China is willing to assert itself as a country, a society that believes in traditional gender roles, that believes in masculinity, and essentially the infallible reality that masculinity is a very important aspect in the preservation of a society long term. So the fact that they're willing to stand up for themselves as a society and a powerful nation, I think, is commendable. I do commend a country that is willing to assert itself in that way amidst a society that really devalues men, that doesn't really treat men with the kind of respect that they deserve. The fact that the Chinese are willing to stand up and state that this is who we are, we own up to our masculinity, I think is quite commendable. And if other Western countries could follow the same kind of model where they're willing to stand on their own feet and state, we as guys are not ashamed, I think it would do wonders to help the Western countries, especially the more powerful countries like America, Germany, and these sorts of places, because they do set a precedent for the greater Western world. And the fact that China can see through the lies, they can understand how the West is currently destroying itself, is, if anything, it's assurance for me that MGTOW is certainly on the right track. It knows what it's talking about. And while we are up against a perpetual enemy that wishes to destroy us, at the same time, we understand that we do have reason on our side. We do have the facts, the evidence, the statistics that support what we are saying. And I think that at the end of the day, as we can see with history, those who cower down generally do not last. They will get suppressed, they will get eliminated. while those who are willing to stand up are able to leave an imprint on the world. And that's certainly, I think, the position that many in the MGTOW sphere are in now. And I think that the fact that China is willing to go after what they call sissy men or sissy boys is commendable, because it shows that China understands the role of masculinity in a society, understands that most societies will build up on some kind of patriarchy, and if you start to erode that patriarchal nature of a society, it begins to collapse very quickly. I hope moving forward that maybe this sets a precedent for other countries. Certainly, I believe in the third world. I think you're going to start seeing a presence that maybe it won't take off so much in the first world countries, but certainly in the developing world, like in Latin America, maybe Asia and Africa, other places, you will see this as taking more presence, I believe, and as essentially setting a precedent for other countries to follow, because societies will see, wait, we can follow the same model as China. They're a successful country. They're following their own course, not in line with the West, and they're still a very productive and economically successful society. So why can't we do the same thing? In any case, I wish this sets a model moving forward, and even if our Western leaders don't want to subscribe to such a model, I know that we as individuals who adhere to MGTOW certainly can establish this as a precedent in our own lives.